Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be good. We're going deep into the Enneagram today.
hmm
Um, Specifically the social three.
Sometimes called the prestige subtype.
Right, right. And if you've ever wondered how some people just climb the social ladder so effortlessly and they just shine in the spotlight.
They make it look so easy.
Right, like it's just no big deal.
This is the deep dive for you, for sure.
This is it.
Yeah.
So we've got a really incredible real life example to unpack.
Oh, yeah, lay it on me.
Carmen Polo,
Interesting.
the wife of Spanish dictator Francisco Franco.
Ooh, okay.
She's considered to be like a prime example of the social three in action.
I am ready. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So Carmen Polo's story is really all about appearances.
Okay.
The sources describe her meticulous attention to detail when it came to crafting her public image.
Oh, interesting.
Like, for example, she loved pearls.
Doesn't everybody?
Right. But not just any pearls.
Yeah.
She would vary the number of strands that she would wear depending on the event.
What do you mean?
Right. 3 strands for a casual gathering. 5 for a major political function.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a commitment to image.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just about looking elegant though, right?
Pearl.
It was a calculated move to align her image with the importance of the occasion.
Exactly.
This illustrates a core social three trait.
Great.
That awareness of social dynamics and the desire to project this polished and successful persona.
It's fascinating.
Right. And they're often very attuned to the unspoken rules of social engagement.
Yeah. And even her journey itself is classic social three. She came from a well-off family,
Okay.
but not exactly like aristocracy.
Right.
Yet she ends up becoming Spain's first lady. mean-
Wow.
That is some serious social mobility.
It really is. This speaks to the social three's incredible adaptability.
Okay.
They're like chameleons blending into and thriving in all these different social environments.
Right.
Adjusting their behavior and presentation to fit in with whatever circle that they want to be a part of,
Yeah.
which can be a huge asset in achieving their goals.
Yeah. And she wasn't just a passive figurehead either.
Okay.
The sources detail her involvement in political appointments and decisions.
Oh, really? So she had actual power?
Yeah, like for instance, the sources describe her role in appointing Carlos Arias Navarro as president after the assassination of Carrero Blanco.
Whoa. That's pretty high stakes.
Yeah.
So she was operating kind of like a subtle power player,
Yeah.
working behind the scenes
Mhm.
to shape events.
Exactly. And this really highlights the social three's preference for this behind-the-scenes maneuvering.
Okay.
They might not be the loudest voice in the room,
Right.
but they're often exerting their influence in these subtle, strategic ways,
Interesting.
while also maintaining a carefully crafted public persona.
Makes you wonder how they do it.
Yeah. And this is where things take a little bit of an interesting turn.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Apparently, Carmen Polo had a rather unique approach to acquiring jewelry.
What do you mean? Like she just took it?
Well, yeah, the sources describe her habit of obtaining jewelry without actually paying for it.
What?
Now, before you jump to conclusions,
Okay.
it's more complex than just simple theft.
Okay. I'm listening.
This behavior delves into the social three's complicated relationship with status symbols.
Okay, I'm with you.
They crave that recognition and validation that
Ah.
comes with these objects.
Sure.
But there's often an aversion to appearing too eager or directly asking for what they want.
So how did she manage to get all this jewelry?
It was quite a system. Her entourage would prep jewelers for her visits,
Oh.
creating a sense of anticipation and obligation.
Darn.
These jewelers, faced with the First Lady and all her implied influence, often felt compelled to just offer gifts.
They wouldn't want to say no to her.
Right, they wouldn't want to appear disrespectful or risk damaging their reputations.
It makes sense.
So she was leveraging her status and social pressure to get what she wanted.
That is pretty savvy,
Yeah.
although maybe a little ethically ambiguous.
Yeah, possibly. But it is a fascinating example of the social three's resourcefulness.
It is.
They can be remarkably adept at navigating social situations to their advantage,
Right.
often finding these indirect ways to fulfill their desires while preserving their carefully cultivated image.
Yeah. And one source even describes her as a warrior in a feminine shell.
Wow.
Outwardly, she presented as this traditional Catholic wife.
Yeah.
But underneath, there was this sharp strategic mind at work.
It's true.
This duality is another fascinating aspect of female social threes.
Okay.
They often blend what we might consider masculine energy
Oh, interesting.
Logic, action, strategy with
Yeah.
a more socially acceptable feminine presentation.
So it's like she was operating on two levels. The
Exactly.
charming public figure
Yes.
and the shrewd political operator.
Exactly.
And she was known for being quite emotionally distant and even ruthlessly calculating when it came to politics.
Right.
Which doesn't really fit the warm and fuzzy image, does it?
Not really, but I think that emotional distance wasn't just a personality quirk.
Okay.
It was likely a deliberate strategy,
Okay.
a way to kind of protect her carefully constructed persona from vulnerability.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it allowed her to detach emotionally
Right.
from some of those difficult decisions inherent in her position.
So even her coldness was part of the image.
I think so.
Wow. It makes you wonder, did her home life reflect this carefully curated persona as well?
I think so.
Huh.
You know, Carmen Polo managed multiple residences,
Okay.
including the lavish Palacio del Pardo.
Oh, wow.
And for a social three, you know, their living space isn't just about comfort.
Right.
It's an extension of their public image, a showcase of their success and refinement.
I mean, this aligns perfectly with what we know about social threes.
Right.
They often use their homes and possessions to project a certain image to the world,
Yes.
reinforcing their desired social standing.
Exactly. For someone like Carmen Polo, her home was likely another tool for image management, carefully designed to impress guests
Of course.
and really solidify her position in Spanish society.
However, she was also involved in a lot of charitable work,
Really?
which seems like a genuinely good deed.
Right.
Was this simply another calculated move?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
She was involved in charity, but even that was often accompanied by these displays of wealth.
Oh, really?
You know, she'd attend events draped in jewels and furs.
So it was generosity,
Yeah.
but with a very noticeable emphasis on her own social standing.
It's true. It's not to say that social threes aren't capable of genuine altruism,
Right.
but there's often an awareness of how their actions are being perceived.
Mm-hmm.
They understand the power of optics and use it to their advantage,
Right.
even in these seemingly selfless acts.
Yeah, with all this talk of image management and strategic maneuvering,
Sure.
it's no surprise that Carmen Polo wasn't exactly known for being approachable.
You're telling me.
Was this aloofness just part of her personality?
Well, accounts do describe her as cold and distant.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that for a social three,
Yeah.
that emotional distance can serve a purpose.
How so?
Well, it helps them maintain control,
Okay.
avoid vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
project this air of effortless composure.
So it wasn't necessarily a flaw,
I don't think so.
but a deliberate tactic.
Could be.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But how did she handle competition?
Oh, good question.
Was she someone who went head-to-head with rivals?
That's not really the social three-way.
Okay.
They might be fiercely ambitious,
Sure.
but they rarely engage in like direct confrontation.
Okay.
Instead, they compete through subtle image management and strategic relationship building.
So less about brute force,
Yeah,
more about social chess,
exactly.
carefully positioning themselves and cultivating the right alliances.
You got it. Instead of grabbing power directly,
Right.
Carmen Polo exercised influence through her husband, her
Mhm.
social connections, her
Yeah.
carefully cultivated image.
Makes sense.
It was about navigating the existing power structures to her advantage,
Right.
playing the social game with finesse
Yeah.
and precision.
She truly understood the dynamics of power and how to operate effectively within those systems.
She did, but what was at the core of all of this?
Right.
The driving force behind her obsession with image
Yeah.
and social standing.
I mean, all those carefully chosen pearls,
Yeah.
the lavish home,
Mm-hmm.
the strategic generosity.
It was all about status for a social three.
Right.
Maintaining it, enhancing it,
Mm-hmm.
never appearing to lose it.
That makes sense.
It's this deep-seated need that fuels their ambitions,
Right.
shapes their interactions with the world.
So Carmen Polo's life, in many ways, was a constant performance,
It was.
aimed at preserving and elevating her status.
Yes, and she understood the power of perception
Hmm.
and used it masterfully to achieve her goals.
Yeah, it's amazing how these seemingly disparate details from her life paint such a vivid picture
Right.
of the social three personality type.
It really is. And I think it's important to remember that this isn't just about Carmen Polo.
Okay.
Understanding the social three can actually provide us with valuable insights
Okay.
into the dynamics of power.
Oh, interesting.
Not just on a personal level, but on a much broader scale as well.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, how can recognizing these social three patterns in others
Yeah.
help us navigate our own social and professional landscapes?
That's a fantastic question, and one that I think we should definitely explore further.
Let's do it.
But for now, let's take a moment to absorb all this fascinating information about Carmen Polo
Yes.
and the world of the social three.
I'm ready for a break.
All right, we too.
Let's take 5.
Okay, so we've been unpacking Carmen Polo's life.
It's fascinating.
It is as a really powerful example of the social three personality type in action.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly struck by how this whole deep dive has revealed this strategic thinking behind her actions. Like even her emotional distance was a calculated move.
Right. It's a great observation. Yeah.
And it really gets to the heart of what makes the social three so fascinating. It's not just about being social or outgoing.
Right.
It's this much deeper drive for achievement and recognition.
Right.
They're incredibly adept at navigating the complexities of these social systems to achieve their goals.
It makes you wonder if we can spot these social three tendencies in the people around us.
Yeah.
At work, in our families, even in our friends.
Sure.
Could it help us understand their motivations better?
Absolutely. Having this understanding can be so valuable, especially in navigating relationships and social dynamics.
Right.
And it's not about putting people in boxes or judging them,
Yeah.
but rather just about developing a deeper understanding of what makes them tick.
Okay, so let's say you're working with a boss who's a social three.
Okay.
Knowing what we know now,
Sure.
what are some key things to keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, remember that image is paramount to them.
Okay.
They're highly attuned to how they're perceived.
So presenting yourself professionally
Right.
and highlighting your accomplishments
Okay.
would be key.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like playing their game,
Yeah,
but in a way that benefits both of you.
exactly. And knowing their aversion to direct confrontation,
Yeah.
it's best to approach conflicts with a focus on diplomacy and tact.
Right.
Finding solutions that maintain harmony,
Yeah.
preserve everyone's image.
Essential.
It sounds like a completely different way of navigating workplace dynamics.
It is.
Less about individual assertiveness,
Yeah.
more about collaborative solutions.
That's a great way to put it. And the beauty of the Enneagram is that it offers this nuanced understanding of how different personality types operate,
Yeah.
which can be so helpful in both personal and professional settings.
It's like unlocking a secret code to understanding people's motivations, which can lead to smoother interactions
Yes.
and more fulfilling relationships.
You got it. And it's not just about figuring out your own Enneagram type, but it's about recognizing the types of people around you and adjusting your communication style accordingly.
Okay, but circling back to Carmen Polo,
Yes.
you mentioned that her story offers insights into the dynamics of power.
It does.
Can you elaborate on that?
Of course.
Mhm.
Her life really illustrates how certain personality types can thrive in positions of power.
Okay.
And the social three, with their focus on image influence, social maneuvering, is a prime example. They often excel at navigating these complex systems and leveraging connections to achieve their goals.
So it's not necessarily about being cutthroat or power hungry in the traditional sense.
No, not at all.
It's more about understanding the unspoken rules of the game and playing it effectively.
Precisely. Carmen Polo mastered that game.
Yeah.
She understood the importance of perception, cultivating the right relationships,
Right.
wielding her influence strategically.
Sure.
She may not have held an official political title,
Right.
but her impact was undeniable.
It's almost inspiring in a way. She wasn't born into the highest echelons of power,
Right.
but kind of created her own path through this combination of ambition, social intelligence, and a deep understanding of how to work the system.
And that's a key takeaway here.
Okay.
Understanding these personality dynamics can empower all of us
Yeah.
to navigate our own path,
Right.
whether in our careers, relationships,
Yeah.
or even just our everyday interactions.
It's like having a roadmap for human interaction.
It is.
Helping us decode those subtle cues and motivations that often drive behavior.
Exactly. And that deeper understanding can lead to greater self-awareness,
Sure.
empathy, and more effective communication
Right.
across the board.
This whole deep dive has given me a new perspective on things.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I'm already starting to see the world through an Enneagram lens,
Yeah.
noticing these patterns in the people around me.
That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
It's a journey of discovery.
It is.
And the more you explore, the more insights you'll gain.
I'm really enjoying this deep dive into the social three,
Me too.
especially seeing how it plays out in a real-life example like Carmen Polo.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of the Enneagram as a tool for understanding human behavior,
Right.
offering this framework for decoding the complexities of personality.
Okay, so we've talked about Carmen Polo's life,
Sure.
her motivations,
Yeah.
how understanding the social three can help us navigate our own lives.
Right.
But is there anything else that we can learn from her story?
Well, that's a good question.
Any cautionary tales or hidden wisdom?
I think one crucial takeaway from Carmen Polo's story is the potential pitfalls
Okay.
of a social three's relentless pursuit of image and status.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
It's easy to get caught up in the social game, especially when you're as skilled at it as Carmen Polo was.
Right.
But there's a danger in becoming so fixated on appearances
Right.
that you lose sight of what truly matters.
And what's that?
Authenticity, genuine connection, inner fulfillment.
So it's a reminder that success, as defined by external validation and social standing,
Yeah,
shouldn't come at the expense of our core values and personal integrity.
exactly. Carmen Polo achieved great social standing and influence.
Right.
But she was also known for being cold, calculating, and emotionally distant.
Yeah.
And while that persona served her well in the world of politics, it likely had an impact on her personal relationships
Sure.
and her own sense of inner peace.
It makes you think about the price of ambition
It does.
and the importance of finding a balance
Yes.
between striving for achievement and nurturing genuine connections.
It's a delicate balance for sure,
Yeah.
and one that social threes with their intense focus on success may need to be particularly mindful of.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot between external validation and internal fulfillment.
It reminds me of that saying, it's lonely at the top.
Yes.
Even those who seem to have it all can still struggle with a sense of emptiness if they've sacrificed their true selves along the way.
That's such a poignant observation.
Yeah.
And I think Carmen Polo's story serves as a reminder to all of us,
Okay.
regardless of our Enneagram type, that true fulfillment comes from within,
Right.
not from external achievements or social accolades.
It's about staying grounded in our values, nurturing those authentic connections,
Yes.
and remembering that our worth isn't determined by our social standing or the
Exactly.
opinions of others.
Beautifully put. It's about finding that inner compass and letting it guide our choices, even as we navigate the complexities of the social world.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
I agree.
I feel like I've gained a much deeper understanding of the social three.
Okay.
Not just their strengths and ambitions,
True.
but also their potential struggles.
Right.
And the importance of finding that balance
Yes.
between external success and internal fulfillment.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's always a pleasure to delve into these nuances of personality
It is.
and explore how these insights can help us navigate our lives with greater awareness and understanding.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From Carmen Polo's strategic use of pearls to the potential pitfalls of ambition.
It's a lot.
But I feel like there's still more to uncover,
You're right.
especially about how these social three dynamics play out in different contexts.
Yeah, there are always more layers to explore.
Right.
And luckily for us, we have time for one last dive
Oh, God.
into the fascinating world of Carmen Polo and the social three.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so we're back for one last dive into Carmen Polo and the social three. That last point about balancing ambition and authenticity really stayed with me.
Yeah, it is a crucial insight, and honestly, one that's often overlooked. The social three's drive can be incredible,
Totally.
but it's so important to temper it with self-awareness and genuine connection.
You mentioned before we wrap up that there were some more fascinating details we hadn't covered yet. Oh, yeah.
I'm all ears.
Remember how we discussed Carmen Polo's approach to charitable giving?
Yeah.
She was generous, but often in a way that highlighted her wealth and status.
Oh, yeah. The whole fur coats at the charity gala thing.
Exactly.
It seemed a bit contradictory at the time.
Well, it turns out there's a deeper cultural context to consider.
Okay.
In Spain, during that era, outward displays of charity and religious piety were highly valued.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were seen as a way to showcase social standing and moral virtue.
So it was less about personal vanity,
Yeah.
more about adhering to social expectations.
Exactly. For someone like Carmen Polo,
Yeah.
who was so attuned to her public image, playing by these social rules was paramount.
Okay, so her displays of wealth,
Yeah.
while maybe jarring to us now, were likely in line with the prevailing norms of the time.
They were. It's so important to consider those historical and societal factors.
That's a fascinating perspective. It reminds us that even seemingly personal choices can be influenced by the larger cultural context.
You got it.
So Carmen Polo was, in a sense,
Yeah.
playing the game according to the rules of her time and her social circle.
Precisely. She was navigating this complex landscape.
Right.
And her actions, while sometimes perplexing to modernize, were likely calculated to maintain her social standing and project the image expected of someone in her position.
This deep dive has been like peeling back layers of an onion, revealing something new and unexpected at each turn.
I like that analogy.
It's amazing how much we can learn about a personality type by examining a real-life example.
It really is. It's the power of storytelling and analysis combined.
Yeah.
We start with a simple question, and we end up uncovering this tapestry of interconnected ideas and influences.
And in this case, we've gained a deeper understanding not just of Carmen Polo,
Right.
but of the social 3 personality type as a whole.
Yes.
Their motivations, their strengths, their potential pitfalls, and how they navigate the complex dynamics of power and image.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. I feel like I've learned so much about human behavior, history, and even a bit about myself in the process.
That's what we aim for.
Yeah.
To spark curiosity, challenge assumptions, and hopefully leave you with a sense of wonder and a thirst for more knowledge.
Mission accomplished.
Good.
I'm already looking forward to our next deep dive.
Me too. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds engaged.
And to all our listeners out there, remember that knowledge is power, but self-awareness is the key to unlocking your full potential. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery.